Hi, you're back with Tony from brainmedia.com. Today we're going to discuss pricing digital marketing services in 2018. Just before we go over to the computer, a couple of things we want to mention to you. A lot of this is going to depend on where you live. So we are in Munich, which is in Germany. It's quite an expensive place. The cost of living here is quite expensive. The competition is not that great. So we probably can get a little bit more than in some other places in this world, but at the same time we're going to be paying a lot more out. So just take these into consideration. We'll move over to the computer and we'll cover the rest of it and we'll show you how to get going. So I'm on the computer now, wired up and ready to go. What I would tell you is that here in Munich we charge between 80 and 500 euros per hour for the service. Right, so for us ourselves, we probably look at an average of 200 an hour, but some people who are working for themselves maybe 80 an hour, and the big agencies maybe 500 an hour. It really depends on who you are, what you know, and what contacts you've got. But so that's just one consideration to take. But now we want to cover a really important point, and this is really, you've got to think you are selling a service, and so you've got to get some selling points across to your client. You've got to tell them and explain to them why you're going to do a lot more for them. So these are the 5 things that will sort of jump out at us. You are a freelancer consultant. You don't have the same overheads as an agency. Thus, you can obviously pass on the savings to the client. You work for yourself, meaning you're going to be a lot more motivated than somebody who's working 9 till 5. You are building a business. Your client obviously means a lot to you, and so does the best return on investment for their business. You see, that's very important that you get that part across, because you're showing that you're going to do that little bit extra. So that brings on to the next point, loyalty and reliability. You're like a dog in that somebody who feeds you, you love them, you're going to do them a service. Then, of course, you're discounting. Reason, you need references, you need contacts, and in a way, you're willing to pay for that. Moving on to the services themselves, you've got to really decide whether you're going to do a customized offer or a standardized offer. We would always say, work out the hours that you're going to do and quote based on that. You've heard that, but the problem is, you've heard that the saying, there's no two people the same. That also applies to business. There's no two businesses the same. So, it's a question of needs and what you think you can do for that business. So you've got to sit down and really work it out in your own mind, and then how to portray to the client. And then, of course, it's going to depend on a few factors. One is the budget. If you've only got 1,000 a month to really give out, right, there's no point in going in with something massive and, where you're quoting them 3,000 or 4,000 a month, because they just don't have the money. But of course, the other way also could work in your favor. They might want to get on the market fast, right? So they might not want to dither around with the 1,000 a month. They might want to get straight onto the bigger stuff, right? So agree on the requirements, what they're going to agree to do. Make the terms and conditions clear. Your costs and expenses, take them into consideration. You might be using third-party services. You might be buying in, certain tools which are costing money, or using subcontractors, right? So work out in your mind the time per month, week you're going to work on the project, and then also your own actual responsibilities. The standard offer, ask yourself this question: can you charge a beauty salon the same as a lawyer and dentist? The obvious answer is no. The reason for that is quite clear. A lawyer, a client, could be worth 50,000, could be worth 100,000. A dentist, if somebody's going to have some kind of major work done, it could also be a 5-figure sum. It could be a 10,000. Okay, not all their services include that, but that's a possibility. Somebody like an hairdresser or a salon, that's it. They're going to get a quick $50 and that's the job done. So you've got to get them quite a lot of customers. It's a different scenario, right? But basically that the margins are tighter, so they can't afford massive sums for marketing. But unfortunately, these are, when you're a new agency, these are going to be your approach. right? So the first thing that we'd like to discuss is if you had to build them a website, or if you had to take care of a website that was, messy and needed fixing. What we tend to do is, if it's just a one-off job where they just want us to do the website and no more work for them afterwards, we've just got to deliver the website and that's it, then normally what we do is take that outsourcing price and double it. So if it's 500, we charge 1,000. If it's 2,500, we charge 5,000, and so on. You've got the message, right? So, obviously it's going to be dependent on how big the site is, and it's going to be dependent on a number of other factors. But if you are getting some work from them afterwards, if they promised you that you can do the search engine optimization, you can do all the marketing, you can bring them on, as a company further, you're going to have a long-term contract, then you might consider even doing the website at cost. So basically, you're outsourcing this, say, to somewhere like in India or the Philippines. It's going to cost you 1,000, right? You charge them 1,000 plus maybe a couple of hundred on top, like 20%, just for your time managing the whole thing, right? When I say managing the thing, I mean, checking that it's done properly, checking that everything's in place, is that it's delivered on time, and I mean, you're the person responsible for it, not the person. They have no responsibility with the subcontractor as such, right? So that's one thing. Social media marketing. Now, on average, companies that outsource social media spend about 200 to 300 euros per day. These numbers are obviously much higher for, big ticket companies and much lower for lower ticket companies. And by lower ticket companies, obviously we mean the small earners, like we've already explained, with the hairdresser as such, right? So what you could do in this circumstance, you could say, we're going to manage, fix and set up 2 to 3 social media platforms for $1,000, say, right? And control them as well, of course, afterwards. That's what the price is going to be per month. Allow yourselves 10 to 15 hours per month to do the work, and then explain to the client exactly what you're going to do. So by social media platforms, we obviously mean Instagram, Facebook business page, Twitter, YouTube. Google Plus is less of a platform, but they might want some kind of inclusion there, and LinkedIn. If the client wanted to advertise on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, an extra budget should be allocated. Yeah. Now, the most important thing about this is you're going to have to charge them extra as well. So if they say their budget's going to be 2,000 for the advertising, we would suggest that 1,600 of that goes on the advertising and the other 400 goes to yourselves. So on top of what you're already earning in terms of doing the service for them, right? So again, it depends on what they're trying to achieve, but we wouldn't even start thinking about advertising for anything less than sort of 1,500 a month, right? Because you're not going to get very far. It depends on the keywords, obviously. It depends on where you're advertising, what you're expecting from it. But, you want at least sort of 1,500, which would mean sort of at least 300 for yourselves and 1,200 for the actual advertising. Now we're going to move on to the SEO services. We believe the best long-term strategy for any business is search engine optimization. After all, it offers the best opportunity to gain organic traffic, and that of course brings scalable growth. It's also good for your digital marketing agency because the contracts are going to be longer that you're signing. So you're going to be probably busy for the next 6 to 12 months on one contract alone. Right, so it's one you can tick in the bag. It's not a quick fix, it's a long-term solution. Let's start off by mentioning that while it might sound a bit naive, many company owners don't want to understand search engine optimization. That in turn makes your job of explaining price modeling quite difficult. With that in mind, keep things as simple as possible. What we do is we work back from the hours that we think it's going to take, and then times it by our hourly rate as such, right? However, you need to stay realistic and price your hourly rate based on your knowledge, experience and location. If you prefer offering a fixed package, do something like a basic SEO first month, local focus, Most business will fit into this category unless it's an online shop or service. Local search. If the business is physical, then local directory and site citations are very important to that business, so make sure you get them in place. Also, the title tag, meta tag creation, topically relevant of course, these are part of it. The URL check. Now there's nothing worse than clicking through pages and seeing a stupid URL. Keep it clean, make it all have a bit of a structure there. So again, the URL check is very important. The sitemap. Some will argue this is an advanced part of search engine optimization, but it's really needed from the first day, because you want to start the search engines picking up on you, and they're not going to pick up if you haven't got a sitemap. Internal link building. Get your audience to stay on the site. It's very important, because otherwise you're going to get the bounce, and you get the bounce and it starts getting high. Google will start marking you down. This is very important, that you get people to click from one blog to another blog, if possible, of course, right? Basic on-site optimization. Get the whole picture. Look at the site from top to the bottom and just see if everything's in place. Analytics configuration, we just sort of mentioned that. Obviously you need Google Analytics. That's pretty easy to install. Optimize site architecture. This is the hierarchy and structured navigation that will improve the user experience. Check the speed of the site, because you'd be quite surprised. A lot of sites are slow, and obviously if it is slow, you need to start worrying about where it's hosted, and probably look at whatever plugins you've got in the background slowing things down, right? So you need to probably enable a few caches, and but again, this is something that you could do with the webmaster, or you could do it yourself. Check that you've got the SSL certificate, everything's legal. You've got the address check, like when I say address check, you've got the maps. A Google map on the front page or somewhere like that showing where the location of the business is also very important. Anyway, that's all a no-brainer. With the image and alt attributes, make sure your alt attributes pass to the keywords. Right? Then, of course, you're going to do the keyword research, depending on competitiveness. Start with at least 50, but these are pretty easy to do, so it shouldn't take you long to pick up on some relevant keywords. Check social media buttons are in place and that they're working, and then do a monthly report and discussion. Keep your client informed and feeling part of the business as such, right? Pricing will obviously depend on the size of the website, but generally speaking, don't start at anything less than like 750 euros or dollars, whichever currency you're in. Right, but it should sort of cover those initial points, because you can do those within a day if you sort of put your mind to it, right? Note, if this is an existing website and they already have a webmaster, you need to make the changes through them. That will obviously make your life easier. You can then just do the consultancy work, and a webmaster knows what they've built, and it's a lot easier for you to follow. Now, with regards to advanced search engine optimization, we would say include all the basics, which would be done in the first month anyway, and then go for, even deeper keyword research. 500 plus words is nothing, seriously. You might think it is. It depends obviously on whatever subjects you've got to chase, but 500 plus keywords should be pretty easy to sort of come up with, and then find some ideas based on whatever you see. Discuss strategy. The client needs to be included. Let them feel part of it, because then they feel important. They feel as though they're getting what they pay for. Image optimization. Check the size of the image fit. If you ever go to any of these websites and you start doing, a search on your websites and looking at the problems that they've got, most of them are built around the wrong size images. So that's one thing you need to get right. Code optimization, advanced on-site check is very important. Content creation, write or have them write blogs and tutorials, and then of course you tinker with them, just put them right, make sure the keywords are included again and again and again. So relevancy is obviously important in this situation, and so just keep really sort of saying, what are you good at? Write us something, we'll go through it and pop it up on the side, right? Also, we would suggest getting a heat map. A heat map, it shows you what people are enjoying reading and where sometimes they leave the site. You know, it's sort of marked. It's you can put your. We'll cover this in the later subject, but a heat map is advanced SEO. You should only be doing it if you really understand it, but it's very important sort of identifying the strengths and weaknesses of a website. And then, of course, do some external link building. Look for relevance, trustworthiness, and authority. Right? If you can get these things covered and you can get them linking into you, you're doing pretty well. So, you know, obviously that's your job and that's what you're out to achieve. So just use your logic. On the basic SEO, right? Once you start digging a little bit deeper, the fact is, obviously, you know, you need to be a lot more sort of involved. So you've got to decide on how long each month you're going to allocate to this project at that stage. But we would suggest when you get to sort of the second month, we wouldn't look below 1,000 a month. Some of the bigger sites are paying like 50,000 a month, you know, but they're really on it. They're on every second word. They just know what to write. They know where it should be. They know what to avoid. It's just like, honestly, you know, these sites, okay, they're online and they're working maybe the shops online, so it's very important to them. But even basic websites, you should at least have a budget of 1,000 a month to sort of continue looking into deeper search engine optimization. Now, pay-per-click campaigns, if the client wants to make an immediate impact, it's probably a good idea to go pay-per-click. That will, of course, drive you a lot of traffic, get you on the front page of Google. This works particularly well for things like lawyers, dentists, car dealerships, you know, high-end tickets, right? But of course, they're paying a lot of money for these clicks. So if they start paying like $50 for a click onto a dentist, well, they pretty well want to land the fish, don't they? So, you know, again, if you're going to do something like a pay-per-click campaign, we would suggest that rather than charge them a fixed fee, take 20 to 30% of the actual budget for yourselves. So if it's like 2,000 as the budget, you know, give yourselves 400 to 600, and then the 14 to 1,600 goes actually on the ad campaign, right? So you're getting paid to find the keywords and to get them managed and to make sure everything's functioning okay. Just for information, some of the law firms, they spend 50k a month on advertising, so, you know, on this type of advertising. So just bear that in mind. In an ideal world, pay-per-click should run hand in hand with search engine optimization or social media marketing. And yeah, I mean, that's just really part of it. We could cover affiliate marketing, but I don't think it's important because most people don't sort of do it. It's a bit sort of specialized. We'll cover it in a video later. What we want to say to you is in our next series, what we're going to do is we're going to do a questions and answers Instagram accounts. So how to manage your Instagram account, right? This is going to be with the teenager, and well, she's going to tell us all the tips and tricks of what she's been doing and how she's built her Instagram to really scale. So we'll see us then. Take care. Thank you for now. And make sure you subscribe, of course. See you then. Bye bye. Ciao.